Hello and a very warm welcome back to the garden, and also a belated Happy New Year. And I really hope that you all had an opportunity to completely zone out and rest. And if you haven't yet, make sure you do that over the next few weeks, because very soon, and before you know it, a new growing season will be upon us starting this March, which is getting closer and closer. Now, something that I wanted to do was to make a quick video, or as quick as possible, outlining 10 little ideas to perhaps make this your most productive, or at least the most efficient gardening year yet. So I'll kick it off with the first idea, which is to look at doing a slightly different planting plan, because I know a lot of you will do a year planting plan, so it's an overview of a year and what's happening in all the different raised beds, and this is what I always used to do. But then I thought, hang on a minute, it's really hard to see when a gap will open up in the garden. So rather than doing a year, you can do a very simplified month by month plan, kind of like a bird's eye view of the garden. So you can kind of predict when you'll be harvesting things and when gaps can emerge, and then it makes it so easy to plan, say, planting in modules to then transplant when a gap emerges. So for example, rather than just having a plan for potatoes in one bed and that's it, if you split it into months, you'll see by July it might be an empty bed, so you can prepare to transplant leeks or kale afterwards. The second idea is hugely important, and that's making your garden less enticing for slugs. And I think we focus a little bit too much about attacking slugs, but the most important thing is actually trying to prevent them in the first place. So this year, be really strict and make sure that you keep grass down to a minimum. Only water in the mornings, because watering in the afternoons is just going to attract slugs to come out. And also look at making some barriers, and something that I've discovered to be actually really effective is if you have brambles, cut these into 30cm long sections and use them as a barrier around your seedlings, and that will help reduce a lot of slug damage. When March approaches, weeds really begin to get hold, and if there are some beds which you might not be planting until April or May, it's always worth putting down just a single layer of cardboard or newspaper to keep down on weeds and just make it really easy for when it does come round to transplanting and it's really warm. You don't have to worry about having to weed the bed before you get started, and that's a lot less demoralising as well. Something that I and a lot of gardeners experience almost every year is feeling overwhelmed, or perhaps you've got some big jobs lined up and you're just feeling overwhelmed because you know there's a lot to do and it can kind of be a bit off-putting, almost as a chore. And something that I've discovered to be really effective in terms of combating overwhelm is, rather than seeing something as one big job, it's splitting it up into small, really easy bite-sized sections. So for example, if you're creating a compost bin, let's say, rather than just having a job of create a compost bin, split it into as many little jobs as possible. So for example, getting the tools together, getting the material together, putting the posts in, then maybe putting the sides on and then beginning to fill it. Because the thing about having lots of little bite-sized chunks is it's so easy to do. It might only take 5 minutes and you cross it off the list. And when you cross it off, you automatically trick your brain into thinking you're a lot more productive. And once you get started, chances are you're going to finish the job anyway. So that's a little brain hack that I do, is if I feel overwhelmed with a big task, I split it into as simple jobs and tasks that I can do, and they all quickly add up, and before you know it, you've finished. On the theme of overwhelm, sometimes all that is needed is just to have another person around, and if you already do, then lucky you. But if not, one thing you can do is find a local gardener in your community and do something where perhaps once or twice a month you will take turns to go over to each other's garden for a morning, maybe a nice Saturday morning, have a hot drink and just garden together and help them with their tasks, and they can help them with your tasks. And especially for the bigger ones, it's just so much easier to do when someone else is by your side and you can just have a nice chat and turn it into a bit of a social. something that is so important, and I'm not going to ever stop reminding people about this, but it's really important to remember to be patient. And if you haven't already, check out the video that I made last year talking about why patience is paramount and so important. And you might see all of your neighbours or all your fellow allotmenteers rushing out and planting everything, but just use the 4-degree rule that I mentioned in that video to make sure that you don't suddenly do a lot of work and it's all wiped out with an unprecedented late frost. So I always like to keep an eye on the weather forecast, and I have a rule of thumb where if it looks like the minimum night temperature is going to be 4 degrees Celsius or below, I will put over a layer of fleece for more of the tender plants. So just be patient, because I always find even if you plant things a bit late, they almost always seem to catch up. Perhaps one of the easiest ways of making your garden more productive is to simply know what kind of crops you're growing give you multiple types of harvests. Now, the example I always love to use, because it's just so brilliant, is kale. So you get the kale leaves all through autumn and winter, and when it comes to spring, the kale then send up those flower shoots, and you've basically got poor person's purple sprouting broccoli, which tastes so delicious, and you can be harvesting for a couple of months. And other things like beetroot leaves, swede leaves, turnip leaves, broad bean shoots, pea shoots, all of these things can give you extra harvests from the exact same space anyway. You're getting 2 harvests, but you don't need twice the space. If you're having a particularly busy year and you love things like reading, and you're trying to balance having enough time in the garden or having enough time being able to read, why not consider using things like audiobooks or podcasts as you garden? So quite often, if I'm not already enjoying the beautiful sounds of the birds, I will put my headphones or earphones on and I'll be listening to a podcast or an audiobook as I'm gardening. And I'm technically killing 2 birds with 1 stone. I'm having a great time, therapeutic time out in the garden, and I'm also getting a chance to listen to some books. And if you want some podcast recommendations, I've listed 3 down below in the comment section. If every year you're experiencing terrible cabbage white problems and also carrot root fly problems, what you can do is, as soon as you transplant or as soon as you sow them, net them straight away. And if you use a lighter version of fleece, you can keep that on as a permanent structure. They're going to get enough light through, but you might have to lift up the cover and water them. Now, a really crucial thing if you're using something like EnviroMesh for your cabbages is to make sure that the mesh isn't touching the leaves. So when the plants are growing, make sure that there's enough space where they're not going to be pushing up against the leaves, because sometimes cabbage white butterflies can lay eggs through the mesh, and then you could have carnage within the little shelter that you've created without even knowing. So just be cautious with that. And finally, the 10th idea to increase productivity is to really focus and don't forget about winter vegetables, and add those into your monthly plans, because winter vegetables, so many of them can store outside in the ground through winter. So I've got leeks in front of me. You've got kale, Brussels sprouts, certain types of cabbages, parsnips, swede, winter radish, Jerusalem artichokes. These are all really strong contenders, and it's so effective to know that you've got several different crops growing all through winter. So even though we're in early January, we're still having so much food fresh from the garden. If you'd like to easily navigate these 10 ideas again, then go into the video description where there are timestamps, so you can easily go back and re-watch any of the ideas. And hopefully you've got one at least which you can utilise this year in the garden, and if so, let me know what that is, or perhaps you have a favourite one, and perhaps you have an idea for other people to read in the comments to increase their productivity, and so let me know what you think. Next week's video is going to be all about how to stay in control and never get overrun or overwhelmed by weeds, so stay tuned for that. And it's the first video in a series of videos to celebrate the release of my new upcoming book called Grow Food for Free, which you can pre-order now. And there's a UK edition and also a North American edition, and there's a link down below in the description for that, but there'll be more information about it next week.